Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at about the first 10 minutes of real kind of gameplay in the Might and Magic Heroes 6 expansion, Shades of Darkness. So we're kind of jumping in right away with one of the turn-based battles. You play as the Prince Raylag, and you've got your kind of squad of Dark Elves. So we're up against some, I think, dire wolves, and timber wolves, and we're just showing you here how easy it is to take on your enemies. Now obviously I've got 3 different sets of troops. 2 of them offer long range attacks, and one of them is a close range attacker. So if you're kind of unfamiliar with the Might and Magic series, it's basically a turn-based battle in which we won.
Hurrah! Victory is ours!
So we'll get into loads of battles. Obviously you've got this map screen where you wander and find kind of treasures and resources, and then engage in battle. So you obviously get a choice to engage or retreat. So if you see a powerful enemy, then you can turn tail and run away if you feel you're not going to be able to take them on. So there's 2 demons, darkness elementals. So we're moving in with our close range attacker, the assassin, and then we'll use our ranged attacker, the stalker. You can see the number next to the enemy. That's how many kind of how much damage they can take. Actually, that's not how much damage they can take. That's the number of enemies in that particular group. It's kind of an unusual system if you're not used to it, but basically that's kind of like the strength of your unit based on how many enemies are in that unit, even though it only looks like it's one unit. So you can pick up items on this kind of map roaming area, find resources, artifacts and stuff that will boost your abilities as well. And obviously you can perform deeds to complete quests and such like. So if you look here, you've got crossbowman. He's got 25, so that's kind of like 25 soldiers in that group. So you've got to kill all 25 of them, even though you only see one character on screen. So that first attack, that was actually my hero, who always sits at the back on the very left, Raylag, and he can perform squad kind of moves which boost their abilities, but he can also perform a singular attack as well for each round. If you look at the bottom left of the screen, that tells you the attack order. So now it's the opponent's turn, and that was quite a high damage attack there. That took away 2 of the soldiers in one hit from my ranged attacker lurker. Stalker, sorry. So we're moving in. Obviously you've got to, as with any turn-based game, you've got to take into consideration the range of the character, moving into to be the correct distance away before you can perform the attack. And victory was assured. Playing Shades of Darkness from the offset, obviously this is the tutorial kind of opening moment. The characters are quite powerful compared to your opponents. You kind of pretty much breeze all the way through them. This is kind of like on the medium difficulty. Here it's showing you about the movement points. Per day you can only move a certain amount. Then once that's kind of depleted, you'll then have to wait another day, and you can click a button on the right hand side of the screen which will progress time forward, which also then enables the enemies to also move as well. So that was pretty a powerful attack on the dire wolves. So basically the tactics are, you know, each character, each class of character has its strengths and weaknesses, and you've got to kind of basically determine which characters to use versus which enemies in terms of what works best. I mean, as I said at the beginning here, extremely powerful in terms of our numbers in our armies and our units. So I found some goodies, and from the beginning your kind of collectibles that you pick up are automatically placed, as you can see here. Obviously when you get more you'll have to swap out depending on how you want to configure your character. Now here is showing you kind of like abilities. You can adjust those once you've got enough points, but you'll take a look at the skills video that I've posted, and that will show you a bit more in depth of what you can do.
Interesting. I could use this altar to summon more lurkers. I only need to find a...
So basically that's a different quest now you've unlocked, and you'll find various kind of quest objectives. I mean, looking at this screen, this is kind of, consider it as a kind of map screen more than anything, rather than a kind of real-time area to travel around, although you are at liberty to go anywhere you please. So here I'm using my kind of abilities to add attributes to my team. So I'll give them kind of like a fire ability. Again, as I said, you've really got to work out what abilities and work best against your opponents, and then once you kind of nailed that aspect, you can then be a bit more of a formidable team. But I mean, I'm making light work of these easy enemies. The game obviously gives you a good starting kind of loadout with the two ranged attackers and the singular melee fighter. I mean, not even taking any damage there at all.
Hurrah!
So basically, as you kind of clear areas and explore the map, you'll come across more damaging foes. Right, this is a kind of 43 strength unit. As you saw there, I decided to not fight that particular unit. I would assume he would have taken me down quite well, would have taken some of my numbers away. I made that as a choice. I possibly could have easily fought him and won the battle, but obviously for the sake of being a new player I decided not to. Basically I was being a chicken. Yep, I admit that, I was being a chicken. So you can see here the hourglass on the right hand side of the screen, bottom right, telling you to progress time forwards. Then once you've reached kind of 7 days, I think things get reset to some degree. So as I said before, you're free to kind of travel these areas, click on items and engage in kind of battles of your choosing. And obviously there's rhyme and reason to engage in as many battles as possible, because you'll be earning experience. Now you can see here on the bottom left of the screen, we've got kind of a there's a kind of status effect which we've gained. I'm not actually sure what that is, but the green arrows pointing upwards suggests that we have a status effect. You can actually zoom in quite close to the battles as well. I've not actually done that here. To give you a bit more of a close-up view. Right, you can see here that I've actually had kind of 2 turns with that same character. Again, this is where you have to kind of weigh up the speed, attack speed of your character versus your enemy, and that can actually really turn the tides of battle. What's also interesting is the retaliation attack. When you get hit, you also counter attack as well automatically, and this can actually also turn the tide of battle, especially when the enemy's on low health. And there's that kind of zoom in view, which is good to have a look at the characters, but obviously tactically you kind of obscure your view from the rest of the battlefield. And again, another easy victory, but as you can see, we lost 3 of the assassin characters, but we got a dwarven shield. So as you kind of continue playing, collect resources as well. We won't go into the resources stuff right now. That comes later on. But you know, you basically battle your way through, follow the story, advance the story, level up your character, equip new items, and you know that's the kind of gist of the gameplay here.